Guys, since you seem to like the last one, we're going to look at a bunch more forgotten knives because, well, I have an extensive knife collection that has a lot of knives that are basically the equivalent of one-hit wonders that really never went anywhere but still are amazing knives that you may want to look for. So let's turn this around and look at 10 more forgotten knives. All right, good morning, guys. It is early. The sun has not even come up. It's not even 6 a.m. yet. We're going to look at 10 more forgotten or overlooked knives. This first one here is the PMP Big Boy. Now, I've got several PMP knives. You saw the PMP Aries in the last Forgotten Knives video, and it's because these were never produced in large volumes. This thing is amazing, though. Nice, very broad drop point 14C28N blade that I absolutely love. It's got a very Shirogorov-esque feel. Flipper on this. Flipper is amazing on this. Action on this is great. This is one of the most comfortable knives to carry and cut with. The pocket clip does move, but it doesn't bother me so much because it's so comfortable in hand. I've really started to love these. But PMP does some big overbuilt knives. Now this thing is a beefy knife, but it doesn't feel over the top big and beefy and overly heavy because it did such a great job on weight reduction. The blade being so broad means that this thing is an excellent cutter. As a matter of fact, this is going to go in my pocket for the rest of the day. Nice broad blade, like I said, thin behind the edge, 14C28N, which means it's going to hold up really well. Beautiful satin on this. Even though I've used it a lot, the satin has held up. And then this nice swedge on it. Big, ample area of jimping on this. And like I said, in hand, one of the most comfortable knives you're going to have. And if you want something that is pretty much a high-performance cutter, this is going to kind of be what you want. And the action on this is so incredibly good. I went out of my way to find one of these for my buddy for a birthday present last year. They were hard to find, but they are still available. There may be a couple of the blue ones left on Blade HQ, but there were some of these that were done as an XL version, which was even bigger, and they were more budget friendly. Yeah, but I love this. You got reversible pocket clip, and it's just, it would be a beautiful platform for somebody if they do anodizing and things like that. They could do their own finishes on this. If you wanted to engrave this, you could. If you're doing engraving and things like that. It's just a great knife that just I wish had gotten more attention than it did. So there you go, guys. Let's move on to the next one. And it's this one, and I'm surprised because this is not an old knife. Some of these knives that you're going to see are older. This is the Knives OAO, designed by Tashi Barucha, and this is an incredible knife, and it's an integral. This is one of the only integrals that I like. It's really light, super well thought out. These were a little bit pricey, and I think that might have had something to do with it, but you only saw these for a while on people's channels, and then you just basically didn't hear anything about it. These were done in 20 CV with beautiful satin. Like I said, full integral, and the cool thing about this is they have got the integral handle, but then these overlay scales, these onlays, these scale inlays that are on it are dovetailed in, and they're all carbon fiber, which makes this under 4 ounces for a full integral, and that's not a thin knife. And the fact is there was a lot of weight reduction done underneath this as well. Reversible pocket clip. There's only one screw holding these scales in. And then it's a beautiful 20 CV satin blade that is not just attractive, but super functional. It is a very attractive knife. It came in a bunch of different colors. It is a nested frame lock, and the action on it is absolutely insane. This is the best integral knife I've ever handled. Not just because it's so light, but just so well thought out. The way it is disassembled. I did a video about that. Maybe I'll try and find it, put a link up here, where I show how this disassembles. But just super clean lines on this. And functionally, it looks like it would be sharp and oblong. It is so comfortable in hand. And then, you know, just all the cool factors. I love this particular model because it's got that jungle green fat carbon fiber, the jungle camo. It reminds me of the old camouflage shirts and stuff like in the 80s. Kids like me in the country always had those camouflage shirts that were kind of that pattern right there, the jungle pattern. But awesome pocket clip. Just one of the best knives to hit the market, and absolutely one of the best integrals that I could ever think of. So there you go. Let's move on to the next knife. And this one is the Ferrum Forged Knife Works Archbishop. And I do know that there were some production versions of this out, the 2.0, the 3.0. I'm talking about the OG, the original run of 200, and it's just an incredible knife. Mine is a one-off. This is the only one that was done like this. They did such good work in-house. I personally bought this directly from Elliot, but these were great. Beautiful blade on this. Nice thick blade stock, but then taken down really well behind the edge. Beautiful blade shape. Great big finger choil on this. This one has got the ceramic coating two-tone on it, and all this anodized area in here in that toxic green. But their knives always had such a good feel and action, and just, they were amazing, amazing knives. And this one in this grip is incredible. In this grip, it's even better. The handles are perfect. You've got such a big blade nested down into this handle where there's just no more room for any more knife. Elliot did such a good job of getting close to 1-to-1 blade to handle ratio on this. This does not have their big 3 screw pocket clips on it, but this is still a very, very good pocket clip. Comfortable in hand. Really functional, really attractive pocket clip, done to match the overall theme of the rest of the knife. All the hardware has been anodized. These were just incredible, and the use of that rolling detent means you have that huge detent ball that sits in the hole, so there is no wiggle in that, and it just loads and bang, just snaps open, and then it is so smooth opening and closing. The fact that they did all of these in hand and they were all hand done, like the parts came in and then they just went ahead and built them up and made sets, handles to match knives, did all of the handwork and hand finishing on these. It was a labor of love. They never really made any money on these because all of the money went back in. So it's just great to have a piece of their company's history done by a really good friend of mine. Look at all that texturing even on the chamfers of that. That was not done on a machine. That was all done by hand, all of that texturing. These were milled. This was just all done by hand, and then matching, color matching all of the hardware. Just an incredible knife. All of their in-house builds were great. So there you go. All right, guys. I'm back. My camera overheated. I never had that happen before. So this is the one that I think has the most chance of a comeback. This is the Tera Mundy Knives warning button, and it's such an innovative design. I absolutely love it. This is a Dirk Pinkerton design. It was done by Beyond EDC under their Tera Mundy line, which was their high-end stuff. And this is really cool because it is one of the best Wharncliffes you're ever going to get. Did you see that action and hear it? Snappy action, super comfortable knife, but it's the lock that makes it so impressive. The lock is built into the pivot, so not only do you get the benefits of an ambidextrous button lock, but you don't get any of the additional hardware or milling, and it doesn't get in the way, and it gives it the cleanest look ever. It gives it as clean a look as a liner lock from the show scale, but then on the clip side, it is absolutely just as clean. So you get all that comfort. Some of the best big jimping you're going to find, and you want to talk about a knife that comes down and gets ridiculously thin behind the edge and sharp. This is as thin behind the edge as the Yojimbo, which I don't like as much. I like the blade shape, but this is a much better option for me. Super comfortable. It's not a huge handle. You can see I've got about 3.5 fingers on that, but because of the curvature of it, it is super comfortable in hand. Nice radius to this that drops this down into the cut. Out of all the knives we're going to look at today, I think this is the one that I wish would come back. It's one of my favorites on this list, if not my favorite on this list, because it is so functional. I love a very, very good Wharncliffe. On top of everything else, so much weight reduction on this that this is a beefier knife this way and a little bit thicker, but still super comfortable. Dirk's knives always are super functional, super comfortable. I love this one. I carry this one a lot. You guys have seen it in a lot of videos, and I just love the fact that that button is in there. And then huge pivot area in here with tiny little bearing, or the bearings on this are a huge set of bearing races, but that keeps the dirt from getting in because it's almost like a sealed knife. Just incredible design. So there you go, guys. Let's move on to the next knife. And it's the Artisan knives, Serus, designed by Ray Laconico. Now, Ray's designs have always been knives that I love. This one is done in a beautiful, beautiful satin and micarta. This is just a very clean, very nice design. It's one of the few front flippers that I do love. The detent on it is just about perfect. Nice little one-sided thumb studs. I know if you're a lefty, that's gonna kind of bother you, but the fact is it gives it a very good, very clean feel. Not much of a space for that thumb stud to drop into, so it gives you that clean handle and line. In hand, it seems like it would be pretty plain and pretty, you know, just like nondescript, but it is one of the most comfortable knives I've ever had. Beautiful satin on this blade. You can see nice burger satin on that, where you get that opalescence and all the colors on it. And it's done at S35VN, and this is one of the better heat treats on S35VN I've had. I do use this. I have two of these. I have another one that I use more, that is the G10 handled version, but the front flipper on this is just about perfect. And then the action, Artisan gets overlooked a lot of times on the action of their knives, but they're always, always really good. Their knives are very well made. You can see here, Ray Laconico design through Artisan Cutlery. They just get it right, and they get overlooked a lot of times, but that front flipper just makes that just disappear. So you don't have a flipper tab that gets in the way. And like I said, just beautiful blade shape on that. It's a very good cutter. One of the better knives in my collection. And then the pocket clip on this is not an aftermarket pocket clip. That's the pocket clip it came with. And then these nice, beautiful micarta scales. You can see it gets carried. It's got some pocket patina on it, where the hand oils have kind of darkened that up. But it's done with the coarser micarta, so it doesn't at all feel slick, even though it's a smaller knife. Just a great, great design. Absolutely love this knife. One of my favorite knives in my collection, and it kind of just disappeared and got overlooked. So let's move on to the next knife, guys. And it's a cold steel fixed blade. Now, I've had this knife for a very long time. I got this about the time I started this channel. As a matter of fact, my first channel that doesn't exist anymore, this was the first knife that was featured on it. And it was not a very good, channel. Nice leather sheath. These were made in Japan. This is the cold steel Czu, and it is a great, great knife. Now, it is not, it's based off of a puku, but it's not a puku. But these were done in their Sanmai 3 steel. You can see here, I don't know what I cut with this. Something I cut with this ate the etching out of the microphone cord, got in the way. Sorry about that. Something I cut with this ate the etching out of that, but you can still see here, cold steel, Japan. This thing is incredibly sharp, but it's got these beautiful micarta handles, nickel silver bolsters on it that just make it so attractive. It is a rat tail style tang, but these micarta handles have been polished really well, and they've got a unique shape to them, which you would think that looks like it would be awkward. It's not. It's really comfortable in hand. Absolutely love this knife. It was one of their better higher end. These were like $400, I believe, when I got this. So I don't know what they're worth today, but it is just a great, great knife with beautiful lines. This is one that I think they could bring back, and I think it would be popular. Like I said, that handle just drops into that grip right there, where that's right in those fingers, lines it right up with the cut. And then if you polish these, I've had this for a long time, but if you polish these nickel silver bolsters, they are beautifully attractive. And then all of these knives at that time came with these great leather sheaths when they were made in Japan. And this is a beautiful, beautiful leather sheath that just sits, this knife sits in it just about perfectly. Really, really well done welt on that, double stitching, and then just an incredibly functional knife there. I use this sometimes if I'll throw it in my pack if I'm going camping, because it is just a really good knife for that, and it sits on the belt nicely. So there you go, cold steel Czu, one that most people have forgotten because they weren't around for a very long time. And this knife is the Oaks Works EDX Lantra, and this knife is not that old, but it never really got very much traction. Eric sent this to me. It's a beautiful, beautiful knife, but this is a nice little outdoors knife. It's a smaller knife, but you have a really good grip. This was done in M390, nice flat grind on this beautiful swedge. It is a front flipper. It is a very good front flipper. done in titanium, carbon fiber, and then like all of Eric's knives, you have this area here that is basically jimping in a pinch grip. Nice jimping up here on the spine. And the thumb studs on this are beautifully done. They're a little further down the blade, so that puts it in a position on a smaller knife where I can still reverse flick off of them, but yet they're not in the way, because when you're holding it and using it, you're up on that, and it just cuts really well. Nice radius area, or I'm sorry, nice radius blade on this from tip to tail, but not strongly radius, so you don't lose out on the feel of having a nice flat. And then just gorgeous, gorgeous. I think this was the blue Arctic Frost fat carbon fiber, or whatever they called it. It is a bolster lock because the scale goes over it. And then this pocket clip just is super comfortable, super functional. And as a smaller knife, this is a nice one because it will slide right into your watch pocket. And then you can see here, reversible pocket clip. You can unscrew that, and it's got a cover on it to keep it clean. But the cool thing, like I said, is not only is that milling that's done on that pivot area right there attractive, and it looks like you've got a bolster on both sides, it is functional jimping. It gives you grip there, and if your hands are wet and you're using this knife, because this is an outdoor style knife, it gives you a little extra grip on that, so it doesn't feel like it's going to come out of your hand. I absolutely love this knife. I don't carry it as often as I should, and I really appreciate Eric for sending it along. I also want to note the position of the pocket clip puts it on a smaller knife like this, puts it out of the way, so it's not down in the area of your hand where you're digging into. It's in that crease. It's just super, super well thought out. So there you go, guys. Let's move on to the next knife because we're winding down towards the end of it. And this one's a really unique one. It is another Laconico design. You guys know I've said I love raised designs, but this is the Monterey Bay Knives Laconico design. EWC, now that stood for Everywhere Carry, and if you look, there's no lock on this knife. This is one of those double detent knives. Now these double detents were popular for a while, and it's a lot like your grandpa's slip joint, but with a flipper. So this is a front flipper, so you've got that no real lock, just a detent that holds it in place. And this is a super, super light little knife, but these were done in M390 and micarta. Now mine is really rare because this was the brown micarta, and they only did a few of these, and they never really got released. They did green, they did black, but they never did this brown, and I absolutely love it. Beautiful blade shape on this. Now there is a locking version of this knife that you can get, but this is a nice little knife if you're just around doing little things. You just need to cut something. The thing that people didn't like about them was that you can break that detent from the spine. If you push down on it, if you get in the wrong position, you push on the spine of that knife, you can release that knife. And people didn't like that. I absolutely love it for like small duty cutting, and it is so fun because there's no real lockup on this. There's no lock. It's just a double detent. So you don't have to worry about lock rock or blade play in this. So super light because there's no lock bar, so there's no real steel in that except on that side there that just holds the detent. So really, really light. Then the pocket clip on it is one of Monterey Bay Knives' beautiful pocket clips. They use super, super comfortable. And as far as a nice little around the house in a pair of shorts knife, this is perfect if you're not going to be doing something that would require you to have a heavier duty use knife. And then I love the fact that mine is in kind of a rarer format because it's in this brown micarta, but absolutely love this. The guys over at Monterey Bay Knives are great. They really have supported the channel. I can't say enough about how Sanford and those guys are just incredible, incredible people. So, all right, guys, let's turn this around and move on to the next one. Well, I didn't mean turn it around. I meant let's just move on to the next one. This is the Petrified Fish Hav Rog, and you guys know I love this knife because when Jared sent me one, I talked about how much I liked it, and then after I started working again, I bought one, and I carry this pretty regularly. This is a great knife. Beautiful, beautiful knife. The cool thing about it is it's got this unique look to it. Petrified fish knives are always good, but the Hav Rog is the one that has stood out to me all the time, all the years that I've had the petrified fish in the last few years that Jared's been sending. This is the one that stood out because it's so unique looking. You got these micarta handles, micarta backspacer, and micarta thumb studs. It is a beautiful, beautiful little liner lock with excellent access to it. And the action on these, just insanely good. The blade is a nice, unique looking drop point blade. Lots of flat, little bit of belly. And they came so incredible. It's just terrifying sharp when it came. These are done in K110. Now, I don't know enough about K110 to speak about it, but I will tell you it has held its edge beautifully. These handles are contoured in a unique way. You've got these high spots. They're not hard, sharp edges on both sides, but it gives you tactility. It contours that handle, which is nice and thick, so you get a really good grip. But when you're up on that grip, and especially up in here like that, your fingers rest on that, and it just gives you that tactility and feel. And it is a very good cutter. And I love how big the thumb studs are because you can reverse flick off of them. Just an all-around gorgeous knife, but the action is just amazing. I love this knife. Super comfortable pocket clip on this. Nice pocket clip. Not a deep carry, but it sits deep enough that it's comfortable. And it's a nice, squat, little thick knife. It's not a big knife, but it does definitely feel good in hand because it is kind of short and squat. So there you go, guys. The Petrified Fish Hav Rog. And this last knife on this video is another knife that has not been around for a real long time, but kind of just fell out and no one really looked at it. And I think it was because of the shape and size. This is the Meerkat-M by MaxAce Knives. Now this thing is incredible in hand. This is one of the best little knives you're ever going to find. Mine is done in the white G10, which will pick up pocket color and you get this pocket patina, but it cleans up nicely. Beautiful M390 blade on this without a big choil. It's got a small, you know, right here at the ricasso, at the end of the plunge, little area there, but you get way up on this in that grip like that, and it's like having a finger choil. Beautiful, beautiful shaped blade on this, nice and functional, and the M390 on it is just heat treated almost perfectly. The action on it is incredible, but then these handles, even though they're kind of short, I can get a 3-finger grip on that, but you can get way up here, and then you've got this huge thumb ramp, so this handle is super, super comfortable. Another knife with a unique placement for the pocket clip, so instead of going this way like we talked on the other one, it's down here, so it falls into this area, so it doesn't hit this area here. Super comfortable, in and out of pocket, it's great, and then just such smooth action on this thing. And it's got a unique line to it. The lock on it is also unique. It's kind of a sub liner, so it's in there, but it's not a full liner. There's no liner on this side, which means this is also a very light knife for as thick and stout as it is. But that's unique because the pocket clip is also a screw that holds in the lock arm, the lock bar. And then the lockup on it is great. And I think that gives it a different feel. It's got a lighter tension to it, but still enough detent. I absolutely love this knife, and I just can't tell you how comfortable that is with that big thumb ramp right there to get way up on this little knife, and it just feels like you've got way more knife than you actually do. So there you go, guys. That was 10 forgotten and overlooked knives, 10 more. So let's turn us around, do some final thoughts, and send you all out about your day. There you go, guys. And I think out of all of them, as much as I love all of those knives, I think that this warning button is the one that had the biggest chance because it's pretty innovative. It's a great design, and I just really hope that it gets a chance to come back, like I said, and maybe you guys can find one somewhere. I think my buddy Nico may still have some. Hit me up with a DM in my public Discord down below. It says join the community. You can hit me up and I can get you in touch with him. Guys, that's it on this one. Hopefully you liked it. I like doing things like this. It's a lot of fun for me to go back through my collection. So if you want to support the channel, tons of ways you can do it. There are a bunch of affiliate links down below. They don't cost you anything at checkout, but they are links to most of the major knife vendors, Knife Ship Free, GP Knives, Blade HQ, all of those down below. There's individual links to individual companies as well, such as Vosteed. I have an Amazon store. Take that, pin it to your browser, use it for all your Amazon shopping, and it supports the channel. A couple of those links down below have discounts built in. Coffee Brand Coffee and Tempered Trail, 10% off. Just simply by using the link. You don't even have to put in a coupon code, but I do have a coupon code for you. See how I segue into these? Isn't this great? Coupon code crazysharp, all one word, all lowercase, will save you 10% at checkout at Fair and Forge Knife Works, Rosecraft Blades, KATSU Knives, Otter Arms, and Otter EDC. That's OTTER, arms for beautiful pistol stands for your displaying firearms, and haptic fidget spinners over at Otter EDC. They're great. They're little haptic EDC little toys. Guys, I have a membership down below. You get early access to videos, exclusive content, and I have got stuff slated for giveaways. Guys, that's pretty much it on this one. Hopefully you enjoyed it. I love y'all. Keep it clean in the comments section. If it's your birthday, happy birthday, and I will see you in the next video.